I'm so excited to talk to you guys. You have no idea. So first off, I imagine when you guys film these movies that you both have to let yourself get genuinely frightened. So I've always been curious, when you rewatch the movies years later, does that anxiety or dread you might have experienced while filming sort of like bubble up, or are you able to disassociate?
No, the anxiety or dread that you bring up on set doesn't come in, but certainly just watching the movies are scary. They're still scary to watch, even if you know what's going to happen. They're really well directed, so that you still jump sometimes.
I've watched some of them back and not remembered that scene existed, and being like, oh, I forgot all about that.
I do get anxiety about the bruises and the injuries sometimes.
Yeah,
A little bit of PTSD.
Yeah, it's all good.
So Scream always gets called a slasher, and it is, but it's also a murder mystery. And since you guys have been a part of every installment thus far, I'm curious, like, have either of you ever figured out who the killers were before you finished the script?
Oh, that's hard to say.
I don't think I have, to be honest. I don't think I've ever read one of these scripts and figured it out before the end, which is a good thing.
Yeah. I know you've both been asked 100 million times what your favorite scary movie is, but what's the scariest movie you've ever seen? As in, like, it doesn't have to be your favorite to traumatize you.
Okay. Yeah, for me, it's still the first one I saw, which was The Changeling with George C. Scott. That movie just terrified me.
Yeah, I'd say either The Shining or Halloween. Those were two that I just loved when I was younger.
David, I have to tell you that our mutual friend Dalton Castle, he texted me this morning, and he had a message that said, "Ask him why he cut me from his documentary." But you don't have to answer that because I already know why.
That's amazing. Thank you.
No, David, I did want to tell you though, Ready to Rumble is the greatest wrestling movie ever made. I'm
Incredible.
Sorry, Mickey Rourke, but it's true.
Thank you.
If anyone ever made a sequel, which current day promotion would you want it to be attached to?
Oh, I don't know either one. I mean, I don't know. I think WWE probably owns the WCW, so I don't know if it's connected still. I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah. I feel like AEW is like a spiritual successor, sort of, to WCW, so that would make the most sense to me, but you're probably right. WWE probably owns it.
I have no opinion on the matter.
Wherever Dalton Castle ends up, that's where they should do it.
Okay, I'm going to text him and let him know. Last question. I know this was very bittersweet to film without Wes Craven. So what was that experience like jumping in, without him and trusting new directors to take on the franchise?
We'd been apprehensive about doing it without Wes just because he was the master and the reason these movies are as fantastic as they are. But, Matt and Tyler wrote us a letter expressing that they became directors because of Wes Craven and that they made Ready or Not because of the Scream movies and that they could not believe they were having the opportunity to even write us the letters and make these movies. So that really set the tone for their enthusiasm and their love and their real wish to honor his legacy. So I felt confident then. And Ready or Not's an amazing movie. So they definitely seem like the right people. And we had a great experience with them. We certainly felt Wes's absence, but we certainly felt his presence as well. We talked about him every day, all day. Every time we shot a scene, either Matt and Tyler would want to know what Wes might have thought, what his opinion would be. And I think that process and that conversation really kept him with us.
Guys, hi. Big fan. So Scream gets called a slasher, but it's also a murder mystery. So when you guys watch any of the previous movies, did any of you ever correctly guess who the killers were?
Oh man, I don't know if I ever really had the opportunity to guess.
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, no, I never correctly guessed, but I don't know. I always kind of knew, especially in that first one, spoilers, that it was Billy and Stu. That's just kind of ingrained in culture, I think. I actually didn't know about Scream 4 or 3. I didn't know who the killers were, and I was surprised. It wasn't who I was thinking. I guessed Rory Culkin in 4, but that was about it.
I feel like I was too young and too scared at the time when I first saw them to even try and guess anything. I was just like all consumed in watching. But I recently, over New Year's, watched with my whole family and with some friends that had never watched them before. And so it was amazing to hear them guessing and making their bets and then changing like, oh no, it's for sure them. It's Judy. It's, like
it's Judy.
Judy is so sus.
In that movie, totally. Yeah.
I got Scream 3 correctly. I knew that it was Roman. I didn't know his connection to them, but I just had a weird feeling about the guy. And then also Mr. Culkin in Scream 4 I knew as well.
I'm sure you guys will be asked a million times what your favorite scary movie is, but I'm really interested in knowing what's the scariest movie you've ever seen. Like, it does not have to be your favorite to traumatize you.
The movie that traumatized me was the first Saw movie. It really traumatized me. I actually stopped watching horror after I watched Saw. For many years, I stopped.
The film that probably traumatized me the most is, well, I was just telling them Signs was a big one for me. That was super traumatizing, but also the first real horror movie I saw an accident. I was just trying to be cool with my older sister and her friend. And I watched The Conjuring, and the first Conjuring was like my introduction to horror, and I hated it. It's great at what it does.
I was I think the wrong age at the time to see the director's cut of Alien, and that here's the thing though, it is also my favorite scary movie, Alien, but it definitely traumatized me. I had nightmares about the xenomorph, specifically that chest burster scene. Just so, still to this day, so upsetting.
It's classic, yeah.
Oh my God. And everyone in that scene, all the actors are just, I think they were genuinely surprised. I don't think they knew exactly how it was going to happen. And the way that it just plays out on their faces is just like haunting, honestly.
Jenna, I have one quick question for you. I think you'd be the perfect person to answer this. Who do you think would win in a knife fight between Ghostface or Joe Goldberg?
This is difficult because I feel like Joe doesn't seem like somebody who would win in a knife fight, but somehow he just keeps getting away with things and coming in clutch last minute. I don't know, but Ghostface
could be anybody.
Like, I'd say maybe like Joe Goldberg against maybe second Scream Ghostface could win. This Ghostface is a lot more aggressive. So I think I want to say that this Scream Ghostface would be Joe Goldberg.
I know you're going to be asked a million times today what your favorite scary movie is, but what's the scariest movie that you've ever seen? Like, it doesn't have to be your favorite to traumatize you.
Toy Story. Toy Story, the scene where Woody goes under the bed and there's all those really effed up CGI monstrosities.
Yep.
Really horrified me as a kid.
Soul. I watched it on mushrooms.
That'll do it.
Terrifying.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
Home videos are also terrifying. Like, if you think about it, like just watching like your own home videos.
Why?
Horrifying. My childhood.
Oh, we gotta. Let's move on.
Scream gets called a slasher film, but it's also a murder mystery. So watching any of the previous installments, have you ever correctly guessed who the killers are?
I thought so in Scream 2, and then they pulled a fast one.
Yeah.
And brought Mrs. Loomis out of nowhere as the...
But we know why. Because she wasn't supposed to be the killer.
And then they...
So do you think you actually had guessed correctly for the original script?
I will never know. See, that's what I'm saying.
You will know because they've said who it was. I just can't remember right now.
I actually don't know who the original killer... But I feel like I should have been right.
Yeah.
And then they...
Smart one. We got a smart one on our hands. Smarty pants.
Thank you, parents, for
Smarty
sending me
bottom.
to lovely schools.
Mm-hmm.
So how cool was it for you guys to join a big franchise like Scream for the, obviously it's your first time.
I would say
jumping in.
P cool.
P cool.
Capital P.
P cool. Most people would say V cool, but P cool.
I go for a P because I like to keep people on their
P cool's
toes,
way better.
on their
Yeah. I'm a big old nerd, and I love I love Marvel and all the most anime franchises. So to be a part of one as beloved as Scream, I felt incredible.
I'm just personally waiting for the stage adaptation, Scream the musical, and it'll be like
I know you're doing a bit right now, but you would kill that.
Thank you.
You would eat that up.
It should be a rock opera.
I gotta say, Jasmin, real quick. I have to tell you that I love Yellow Jackets. I'm in love with it. It's like my favorite new series.
Me too.
And there are so many theories online about what's going on right now. And I don't want any spoilers, but I just need to know, have you read any theories that have gotten it right yet?
Here's the truth. I don't know the answer to a lot of the questions. I only know as far as the end of season 1, and
they want that season 2.
Yeah, and they have 5 seasons already written out in their heads. So I only know the answers to what ends up being the end of season 1, and no one's gotten it right.
They got 5.
Literally, I've not seen a single correct theory, which is pretty cool. Actually, I have seen one about one thing about who the blackmailer is. That's the only correct. Okay. I've seen one correct theory.
Tell me.
But nothing else.
I'm excited
Nothing
to
correct
find out
about
Sunday.
Antler Queen. Nothing correct about how different people
Isn't Jack
go.
Quaid the blackmailer? I'm sorry. Listen. I thought they knew the Jack Quaid cameos.
Oh my God, Mason.
I thought
You just ruined. I'm probably gonna get sued. Oh, here comes the Showtime police. I gotta go.
Hi guys, I'm a big fan of both of you. Both of you have been in some amazing horror movies. So I'm curious, are there any points when filming movies like this where you get genuinely frightened?
Normally, no. But I think that with this, you see a stunt double walk in or something into a room dressed as Ghostface, and it just sort of throws you off because it's like this iconic figure that you've grown up with. So that being in such a close setting with you, sometimes you're like, it's just no matter what, it's a little off-putting.
Yeah.
So with this, maybe that changed my opinion on that a little bit with this movie.
And sometimes you can psych yourself out if you're in the actual scene, and acting.
Yeah.
Scream gets called a slasher, but it's also a murder mystery. And watching any of the previous installments, like complete honesty, have either of you ever correctly guessed who the killers were?
Oh man, I don't know. Well, I mean, I don't know. I feel like since everyone is a suspect in the Scream movies, and they always try to give every single person a motive at one point in time, which is a part of the whole mystery and the whole whodunit, that like, technically, yeah, you could be like, oh, I called that at one point. I called that, an hour ago before I changed my opinion.
Yeah,
but I called it.
I called 5 other characters.
So, like, honestly, like, if you have like thought about that being like a possibility to a certain point, like that could also be like a success on the movie's part, because you should be suspecting everybody at a certain point, so.
Right. I'm sure that both of you are going to be asked a million times today, like what your favorite scary movie is, but I really want to know, what's the scariest movie you've ever seen? Because it doesn't have to be your favorite to traumatize you.
Oh, for me, the most traumatizing is The Exorcist. Absolutely.
That's same.
Terrifying.
It does.
Yeah.
It does live up. It does hold up. I only saw it for my first time a couple of years ago, and I was still terrified. It does completely hold up. For me, honestly, which I also watched for the first time a couple of years ago, Hereditary. I think, honestly, like I love horror movies. I watched it late. I didn't see it in theaters. I watched it and I was like, that might have been the scariest movie I've ever seen. Like, it really got me, and it takes a lot for horror movies to get me. I love how off-putting it is and just so unsettling. Like that's what makes me scared, is when it's so deeply unsettling.
Yeah, Hereditary is a great answer. That was a great one. One last question for Marley. Over the course of your amazing career, have you ever come across a better character name than Wendy Peppercorn?
No, I think Wendy Peppercorn takes it for sure.
So now that you're officially a part of the Scream franchise, was there any point during filming where you felt genuinely frightened?
I mean, for me, it was like, I think when you're shooting something and it's very technical and you kind of see how it works behind the scenes and that it's not real, it takes away a little bit of the fear factor. Even for me, who's like terrified of blood, when it's fake blood, I guess it doesn't feel as scary. But I feel like the makeup trailer was seeing like all the the special effects stuff that they were getting ready for the day, you know, in the morning, walking out of the trailer, for whatever scene they were going to shoot, that was like pretty intimidating and scary.
So I'm sure you guys are going to be asked a million times today, like what your favorite scary movie is, but I want to know, what's the scariest movie you've ever seen? Like, it does not have to be your favorite to just have terrified you.
What's the most terrifying one? I feel like Silence of the Lambs.
It has to be a horror film.
Yeah. I feel like that.
No, it doesn't have to be a horror film.
Oh, it doesn't?
No. I think Jasmin said her answer was Soul after she was on shrooms. So that was a great answer.
Of course she said that. That's so funny.
I think if I'm remembering correctly, there's this movie called Paranoid Park there's this really gruesome scene in it. And I remember watching it and knowing that I was going to be scarred for life after that. So yeah.
Oh, there's also another one I remember. I don't know why I thought it was so scary when I was younger, because now I look at him like, this is not scary at all. It's not even a horror movie. But Coraline, is it Coraline? The girl.
Coraline's so good.
Coraline is, it's so good, but it's so like
creepy.
I had nightmares about that film for a long time.
Yeah.
Is it considered a horror? It's not really considered a horror.
It's kind of like children's horror. I think.
You know, they're making another one. I just saw like someone post about it. Speaking of. Yeah.
No, I did not know that. I love the book. I've even read the book. Last question before I go. Scream gets called a slasher film, but it's really also a murder mystery. So I'm curious if you guys have, when you watched the previous installments, did either of you ever correctly guess who the killers were?
Mm-hmm. I did. Well, we were all given different scripts, and the outcome of the script I got was not the real outcome, because we all had different ones. But I did guess, because I remember I like talked to the directors and they were like, so like, who do you think it is? Like, who do you think Ghostface is? And I was like, I said my answer and they like smirked and giggled. And I'm like, okay, guys, you gave it away. And I was right. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for talking with me. I really appreciate it. You guys are amazing. Thank you.